I wish to promote you, Mr. Presley. Tomorrow, all of America will be talking about my war.
Baz Luhrmann's Elvis is a big, messy biopic about the king of rock and roll. It features a superb performance by Austin Butler in the title role and a weird, off-putting performance by Tom Hanks playing Colonel Tom Parker. Now look, Elvis was a larger-than-life performer, and the film does touch greatness at times, but it's ultimately a shallow but gloriously mess of a movie.
I have an announcement to make. One of our students, Finney Blake, was abducted.
The Black Phone is a very good supernatural thriller that feels like a Stephen King movie, probably because it was written by his son. This is the story of a boy who is abducted and how he manages to do battle with his kidnapper, who's played creepily by Ethan Hawke. Now, I won't spoil anything, but if you like atmospheric ghost story thrillers, Black Phone is very good.
Do you hoop? Hoop? Basketball.
And finally, Rise is the dramatized story of Giannis Antetokounmpo and his brothers as they go from the playgrounds of Greece to NBA superstardom. It's an uplifting story that's all about basketball, but really, it's about the power of family.
They can knock us down, but they can't stop us from getting back up.
And that's what's new this week at the movies. I'm Sean McBride, the movie guy.
Of course, Sean McBride, the movie guy, drops by every week to talk to us about what's new at the box office. This is a week that a lot of people have been waiting for. No names, Macy Meyer. But and I don't think it has anything to do with her love of Elvis Presley. I'm just guessing.
Not that I don't like Elvis Presley. I like who's playing Elvis Presley in
That's
this movie.
what I thought was driving this all together. I mean, this is nothing new. Movie makers and the man who makes this movie also comes with a little bit of a reputation.
Baz Luhrmann, right, exactly.
Yeah, in Moulin Rouge, among others.
Exactly, and The Great Gatsby, the last one he did. So he's a man who knows how to make very interesting, visually appealing movies. Ironically, this movie gets made because Tom Hanks signs on, and that's the movie star we're selling it on. I think Tom Hanks is the worst part of this movie, honestly.
Oh, really?
But I do think Austin Butler, who Macy seems to be very interested in, I think he's very good. This is a star-making turn. This is the Elvis biography. I don't know, do people really need to know these events? I mean, do they not know what's going on?
Oh, I think you have a lot of generations that don't, though.
Well, that's kind of an interesting thing because I go, well, I know all of this. And Elvis's life was so big that there's no way you can fit it all into a 2.5-hour movie. Yeah. Almost 2 hours, 40 minutes here.
Wow.
It is a long movie, and a lot of stuff gets left out. I mean, his military service kind of happens, he mentions it and it's done. His 10 years in Hollywood, all those movies he makes, yeah, it's a montage, and then we move on. So.
Well, let me ask you this, to clarify some for a lot of people who maybe don't read the trades or don't know about, is this a musical?
No, I wouldn't say though. He does sing, obviously, it's Elvis and stuff, and a lot of his music is mixed with some modern stuff, which is kind of interesting. You hear some Doja Cat sneaks into Hound Dog, you know? And I think there's some interesting thing. It's Baz Luhrmann. He's always been anachronistic and played around with the form. I think visually it's great and stuff like that. My problem, like I said, is Hanks. I don't think he works well. He does this weird character.
Overacts.
Yeah.
It's not that he overacts. He's doing in this weird accent, and he's layered under. He's in a fat suit, and so he doesn't really get the chance to act. But you know, the big point is I don't care about his character. I liked Austin Butler. Give me more of that. Now, Baz Luhrmann has told us there's a 4 hours director's cut that's coming out.
Well, I was going to ask you too, and we've talked about this numerous times. You know, I always say we live in an age now where you have episodic television, which I think serves storytelling so much better.
Absolutely.
That instead of having to go, okay, you got an hour and a half to tell you this story, now you've got 10 hours.
If HBO had gone and said, we'll give you 10 hours and we'll give you the budget, or Apple, who has unlimited budgets, they could have told the whole story. They could have told the Hollywood years. The stuff with Priscilla gets a short shrift as well. There's a lot of things that kind of just don't make the cut, and I think they needed to. That being said, I did enjoy it. I appreciated this, what he got into the 2 hour and 40 minutes. I think he does a good job. Like I said, visually it's great. Austin Butler's great. Some of it just kind of falls flat.
Okay.
You know what the litmus test is? Would you see it again?
There you go.
The real litmus test for me is I came home and I was not singing Elvis songs. And I'm the person that always will start singing that. And I thought, oh, that's not a good sign.
See, that's funny because I have the Doja Cat song stuck in my head because it's all over the internet right now for advertising for the movie.
Yeah,
so.
exactly.
Well, and I think, though, it will also be driven by a lot of people like Macy, because I was telling you at my house, it's the same thing. I don't think it's so much, oh, I love Elvis, as much as they want to see this actor in this particular role and see how he comes out in it. Okay, so, but this is not the only movie opening this weekend.
And quite frankly, this is the worst of the three, but
Really?
it's the biggest of the bunch.
Yeah.
So I would say the best of them is also in theaters. It's called The Black Phone. It's Ethan Hawke. This is written by a guy named Joe Hill, and if you didn't know that he is the son of Stephen King, just look at this trailer and you can tell this is, it looks like a Stephen King movie. It looks like a very good Stephen King movie, and it is. This is a story set in Denver instead of Maine, but it's the story of these missing kids. Somebody's been grabbing them. They call him the grabber. And it's this story of this one boy, and he's been abducted from this kidnapper. There's a phone on the wall, and the phone is not connected to anything. The cord's been cut. Nevertheless, he's able to use that phone to contact people. I'm not going to spoil anything, but it's got that supernatural thing, and it's got that young protagonist, and it's got Ethan Hawke in a creepy, creepy mask. That you could sell this movie off the mask alone. I think this is a really good thriller / ghost story. If you like those old-timey Stephen King movies, if you like Stranger Things, although it's rated R, let's be honest here. So I think this is really well done. This is the best film out this week.
Now, it's interesting that you would say that. I had no idea Stephen King's son was a writer that was writing in kind of the same genre.
He's changed his name so he's not piggybacking on his father's success, but boy, he's obviously learned some tricks.
Well, I will also say,
look at that mask.
Wow, that is scary.
Yeah.
I was going to say, he has done some great work lately, Hawke has. I mean, look at some of the stuff he's done. And the third film?
The third film is over on Disney Plus. It's a film called Rise, and it is the dramatized story of Giannis Antetokounmpo. I can't say his last name.
That was pretty good. That was pretty close.
Close enough.
There you go. The two-time MVP of the NBA, and it's him growing up in Greece. His family migrated from Nigeria and they went to Greece. Really, it's a basketball story, but really it's a story about family and migrating and not being legal in their country. So it's an immigrant story. They're always worried about the police being there, and the problem is if he and his brothers get too notable for basketball, will the police come and deport them? So I think it really works well. I think there's a lot of fun stuff in there. I love that there's also, it's a very religious story. There's a wonderful moment at the end where it's the two brothers, they are praying, and the agent prays with them, and then they cut to the mother on the other side of the world, and she's praying. It's really kind of a sweet thing. But I will say, if you have young kids who are basketball fans and you're here for a sports movie, just be aware that there are a couple of scenes where immigration police are breaking down the doors and the family is fleeing in terror. There's a scene later on where one brother has to pick up the younger brother and run to escape. That is not something that a 4-year-old kid's going to process easily. But that being said, the basketball, the family, the faith, I think this is.
But it sounds like, it's a sports movie with a story. So many times it's just a sports movie about sports.
I would say it's a family movie with sports.
There you go.
Well, yeah, it's so interesting with the brothers all kind of being
three of them,
huge success.
Three of them made it to the
incredible.
NBA. Exactly.
And it's a contemporary story at the same time, which is kind of cool. All right, Sean, anything else we need to talk about?
Well, I didn't review it, but Beavis and Butthead do the.
Like I said, is there anything else we should talk about?
Look, it is going to be a good month. We're coming on July. Next week we have Minions, and then we have Thor the week after, Love and Thunder, and then the week after that we have Where the Crawdads Sing, and the week after that we have Nope. I mean, there is a good heavy hitter movie every week. I'm very excited.
And the other thing, the other side of that is we'll also start seeing these movies that were out a month ago coming to streaming services, so that if you miss them at the theater, you'll be able to see them.
Enjoy at home.
All right, Sean, thank you. Appreciate it. This might be a weekend you want to go to the theater just to escape the heat.